Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And the chum bucket has dropped.
Just like we said it was going to.
Splattered into the sea. Yeah, we talked about this article the other day.
At length. We're not going to do another hour-long video,
Oh God,
guys.
no.
Don't worry. We already tore this apart at length.
Okay, so this is how this works, right? There is usually a major media outlet that writes a hit piece on fandoms or certain segments of fandoms, and then these other smaller media outlets pick up on that and they run with it, and then other outlets will take their articles and they'll cite it, and that's how this spreads. That's why I always call it a chum bucket, because it is. It's like all the sharks start feeding. They know it's coming. They can smell it, and that's what's going on. Since this article dropped, there have actually been several more articles citing this one popping up, again perpetuating the toxic fans and how the toxic fans are going to get their comeuppance finally.
And again, if we're not going to rehash this, you can go watch the other video. It's an hour long though, where we took and broke down the same lies and BS, the Ghostbusters 2016 and Kelly Marie Tran and Captain Marvel and Christina Ariel and Gina Carano and blah blah blah. Same. It's the same article, different day.
Yeah, so it's starting, and I expect the next week or so to see 10 times as many. Sharks picking up on it's Easter weekend.
And we're sitting here like, oh, yawn, here we go again.
Yeah, but it is a trend. We did this other video talking about the female gamer movies and stuff, where GamerGate has become a talking point again. And toxic fandom has become a talking point again.
You know what makes me mad, by these headlines? Fandom flames. Could toxic fandoms finally be on notice? They say up to toxic fans. Exclusivity within fandoms creates a toxic environment. I agree with you. I agree that exclusivity and gatekeeping is a problem in the fandoms, but this is a new problem in the fandoms. And I'm really, 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 sorry, I'm preemptively, fucking tired of these media outlets trying to act like it's a new problem, or it's an old problem, but it's a new problem that they themselves have perpetuated. You might not have had so many people against you for Ghostbusters 2016 if you hadn't immediately attacked fans and said you don't like it because you're misogynistic and racist. You might not have had as much trouble with She-Ra if you hadn't attacked old school fans and told them they were misogynistic and racist and istophobes. You wouldn't have had as much trouble with the Star Wars if people didn't like it. You immediately said that because they were racist and misogynistic. Are you seeing a pattern here?
Yeah, you do it yourselves.
Yeah, no, they perpetuate it, and then they turn around and be like, they caused the problem, like Squeaking said. They lit their kitchen on fire, and then they put it out and then say, we're the heroes, praise us.
Megamind.
Megamind.
The plot of Megamind.
They are literally the plot of Megamind.
They are the villains trying to be the heroes. Yes. So we're going to talk about that. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 184,000 subs. We do talk about pop culture. We talk about movies, comics, whatever interests us that day. One thing we've been talking a lot about lately, unfortunately, is the increase in attacks on fandoms. This has kind of subsided a little bit last year, and then this year, I honestly thought it would die down with Trump being out of office. I thought maybe people would calm down a little bit and things would settle down. And no, it's actually, we've seen more of an uptick in anti-fan articles, fan baiting, all this stuff in the last couple months than we did, I would say, all of last year.
Right, and if the only people who you were attacking were actually the quote-unquote toxic fans, which I'm not saying there aren't real, truly toxic people. They are the very, 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 very tiny minority of the people you attack. If it was the case that it was just everybody loved it, like you want to say, why aren't these things doing better? Why are they going into oblivion? Why do people not care universally?
Yeah.
So is everyone who doesn't agree with you a toxic fan? Because that's basically what it comes down to. Are these hit pieces written that if you don't agree with our point of view, you're automatically toxic? They have articles and podcasts that they're literally labeling anyone who doesn't like Star Wars alt-right.
Yeah. So here we go. Comics Beat picked up on it. Fandom flames. Could toxic fandoms finally be on notice? The fandom ecosystem is a delicate thing. Who dares disrupt it to save it?
To save it from what? People like them?
Yeah, the Hollywood Reporter published an article. They go on, blah, blah, blah.
Same talking points.
John Boyega, Kelly Marie Tran.
Captain Marvel, all this other shit.
Changed it, yeah. Voltron. As the relationship between fans and creators, which includes stars, grows ever permeable, everyone's a critic, but oftentimes that criticism slips into hostility.
Wait, Voltron. But the Voltron, the toxicity with the Voltron were the actual shippers taking it too far.
Yeah.
But they're not mentioning that. You understand, creators are screamed at to make the ship canon. Okay, yeah, shippers. But see, that's what I'm saying. It's not just as one-sided. At least that one admitted the shippers, but they're still probably going to try to say they're alt-right people, right?
Yeah, Matt St. Clair. How misery predicted toxic fandom. Ironically,
we've made that reference many times
to Raylos and shippers. We've made the comparison between but again, here's where I get hung up, because at least I'll give them credit for mentioning the Voltron fandom. Like you said, they've mentioned before the Steven Universe fans getting too.
So I'll give them that. Yes.
Most of the news outlets only talk about the male Star Wars fans, the male Snyder Cut fans.
Yeah, they always step over the women or anybody that's not white or straight. They always step over those people. And people will correct them all the time, and they'll get labeled. They'll be like, oh, you're an alt-right, white supremacist or whatever. Like, I'm not even white. Well, you are one internally. I get it all the time. I'm an internalized misogynist by male feminists who try to tell me that I, as a woman, have to think the way they think. Or I am a misogynist. So we get this straight. The men are telling me, the woman, that I have to think the way they think, or I'm a misogynist.
So here we have, so this sort of mindset is making the rounds of college campuses.
Oh, I agree. This totally is happening, but it's not happening in the way they want to portray it.
Not at all. It's actually, here's the thing, and we've talked about this before. Like most fans of any franchise, they were, disenfranchised a lot of times, going to school, growing up.
We're the ones took all the bullying.
Yeah, you get beat up if people knew you were reading comic books, playing video games.
And now you get to be beat up again.
Yeah.
By these people who want to come in and try to run it and tell you that you aren't the right kind of person to like it. Or you're an old school fan. And then, like She-Ra, for example. And then when you question any changes to the new one, because it doesn't even seem to be like, it's a completely different show. It's not even like, feeling alike. Well, you're just a bad person because you don't understand and you should be kept out.
So, oh God, here we go. So talking about gatekeeping and fandom, and this is kind of what happened. I know there are more old school fans that are flat out saying we need to gatekeep because we're letting people in that don't want to be part of the fandom. They want to come in and take over and use the platform. I
have no problem people they want to come in for a fandom. What I have a problem is that they want to try to kick everybody else out.
Yeah.
That's what I have a problem with. And I would never agree with anybody kicking other people out who legitimately want to be there.
Yeah, if you want to come, everybody's welcome at the table, but that's the thing. Everybody needs to have a seat at the table. This isn't musical chairs.
Everybody's welcome at the table as long as you aren't straight, white, and male. As long as you like what they demand you like, and every part of it they demand that you must like.
But I've actually seen more calls from people that before were very passive, like, oh yeah, everybody's welcome, actually being like, no, we need to start gatekeeping our hobbies again, because you're getting a lot of bad actors come in and they're basically just grifters. They want to come in and they just want to use the fandom and boost their own platform.
Yeah, but it's not even gatekeeping again. It was never no one was kept out before.
No.
It was just because before it was people that no one bothered with it unless they were legitimately interested in it. It wasn't until it was trendy to be like, oh look, I'm a geek and it's trendy, that this started happening. Now I never think it's okay to quiz people. Hell, you and Squid King got quizzed by a dude wanting to play a game.
Oh my God, yeah. So we were trying. I'm not throwing the game store under the bus. There's the game store here in town. And
it wasn't their fault.
No, it wasn't their fault. There's a guy running a Cyberpunk campaign, and Squid King and I wanted to play, and I hadn't really played a lot of Cyberpunk. I played Vampire the Masquerade a lot back in the day, and we get there, and the guy immediately is like, "Do you know what the cyberpunk genre is?" And I'm like, bitch, please. And he's like, can you give me some examples of the cyberpunk genre? And I'm like, I'm not even playing.
So don't give me that only women get quizzed. Because Kneon and Squid King went to play the game and they got quizzed when they were in there. So I don't never condone
I was just like,
people.
thanks, but no thanks. I'm like, yeah, you're a dick. I'm done.
Yeah.
We just
it's
turned
like, well,
around.
you're
and
lucky
walked
I
out.
wasn't there. But
Yeah,
I never condone quizzing anyone who wants to be part of a fandom. And so I've never stood for that. They always spin this narrative that women are quizzed and that fake geek girls and stuff. But sometimes they are fake people, whether it be a girl or a guy, that just want to come in to try to take over and to try to push, to go to the table and say, well, you all have to leave because you're not the right kind of person.
Yeah, or I'm a vegan, and because I'm a vegan,
You all have to be.
You can't eat that roast beef anymore.
You all have to be.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. And we saw it with tabletop, and now they're coming for the cartoon shows, and they're coming for the movies. And most people had no problem with people that are different than them being fans. I mean, for years, I wasn't kept out of any of the fandoms I was part of, ever.
This was never even a discussion. I mean, I think about all the comic shops I've been to, all the arcades I've been to, the gaming stores I've been to, both coasts, and none of this was even a discussion until probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Right. There was always people, we went to conventions. We were guest at conventions. One of the reasons I loved anime conventions so much was because it was so inclusive.
Yeah.
And they welcomed anyone. Didn't care what gender you were. Didn't care what color you were. Didn't care, which way you leaned in bed. They didn't care.
No.
It's just like, hey, we all love this. We're going to cosplay and have fun. And we'd see people, there'd be like people that were race bent, gender bent, people, guys and girls, making out with other guys and girls all over the place. Nobody cared.
The only time I cared is when people got drunk and threw up outside of our
right.
hotel room.
That was the biggest problem.
Then I cared.
Nobody cared because nobody was being kept out and everybody was being accepted. Yeah. And this whole idea that, people were being gate kept for years is a load of shit. There's gatekeeping going on 100%, but it's only been a majorly recent thing. I mean, that's why we're seeing things retcon and changed.
Yeah, I think what's going on is, again, we had a lot of nerds and geeks that were pushed out of other spaces and they found each other. And then what happens is you've got other people come in and want to push them out. And it's like, do you actually want to be part of the group, or do you want to just kind of come in and run things? And we've seen people come into, getting jobs, working on beloved IP, and immediately they come in like, this is great. I just want to change everything.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah,
it's like,
everything.
If you really truly loved it, want to be part of it, why do you come in and say, well, this is great, but everything has to be changed? Like tabletop especially. But it's like you came in and sat down at the table, and then you sat down and said, oh, I love this so much. But I'd love it, but it all should be different. Well, clearly you didn't love it. You just wanted to come in to change it.
It's like, talking about, people dating. It's like if you're, dating someone, you're like, oh, it's perfect. This person would be perfect for me if they were just a totally different person. So let's change this person. Let's make this person a different person. And then it's like, well, then you were never actually in love with them to begin with, because you want them to be somebody they're not.
Plus, if you're part of a fandom, then part of being a part of fandom is the debates and the discussion.
That comes with it. Yeah.
It goes with it. And then people have done it for years, and they didn't have to resort to, well, you don't like this, so you're a misogynist, racist, whatever istophobe I can call you.
You're a Nazi.
You're all right, because you don't agree with me that this character is the best. It never was like that. Like, they would be debating points, but people didn't act the way they're acting now. So yes, 100% there is toxicity and gatekeeping, but it's not done in the way that these people keep spinning it.
So this is coming from an academic, of course. This is,
God, well, it's going to be skewed right from there. Academic.
Gatekeeping does not only apply to nasty tweets within the anime community. Dustin Abnett, Cal State Fullerton's associate professor of American Studies, said that the history of gatekeeping in pop culture has always been around, as cultural activities have been consistently limited by social categories placed on them by others. Because of the kind of much larger history of misogyny, white supremacy, access to different genres of fandom has been limited to women and people of color. And it's not just that they weren't interested in science fiction or fantasy or things like that, because they definitely were. It's just they weren't acknowledged as existing as fans by the institutions or by other fans themselves. And that limited their power within the pop culture world itself. Look, okay, again, a lot of fandoms were, you talk about found family. A lot of fandoms were found family. The people that came together, they were outcasts. They, if you were into Dungeons and Dragons, or you were into comic books or video games or anime, I remember it was really weird to be in the anime in the late 80s and early 90s. Like anything beyond Robotech, like when you actually have to go seek out other people that had tapes and switch tapes out and find
You don't watch
stuff.
a kid's show. Are you a pedo?
Yeah.
And
it was like, what's with all the weird Japanese cartoons? God, that stuff's weird. And it was hard to find. And so you'd find people like yourself that were into it, and there'd be anime clubs and all stuff. And but it was like found family. You would find other misfits that, maybe the rest of the world didn't understand, and you guys would have common ground. And
as such, most people were very accepting.
Yes.
They didn't question people. The questioning came when we had a trend where these people would come in and they didn't actually care about what they were supposed to be fans of. They knew nothing about what they were supposed to be fans of, but they wanted to come in and tell the fans what they should and shouldn't be. That's when the quizzing came about.
Yeah, because it was like we already got shit on from the normies. And now you're going to come into our space, our found family, and you're going to cause problems for us when we already have enough shit to deal with. You better be on the level. And I can completely understand people being very apprehensive of that, especially now, because now since Hollywood has come in and they've kind of glamorized geekdom, okay? Thank you, Big Bang Theory. Thank you, Nerdist. Now that they've come in, glamorized geekdom, you've got all these people that want the clout. They're like, oh my God, if I could just be like a gamer girl or something, oh my God, I get so many followers on Twitch and Instagram, you know, and then I can move on to do something else.
Not even that. I mean, just anybody. Like, they're trying to use it. And I love it so much, but I need to reboot it and make it about me. Like She-Ra. I'm going to bring it up again because I love it so much. It's so important to me. I've never watched it before, but I played with the toys and made up my own stories. And now I got to do a fanfic about myself and my friends and as characters. And it's like, that's where there's a problem because you didn't really care about the property.
No.
You cared about it after you got the reins to change it the way you wanted it. These people keep coming in and trying to change it to what they want it to be. And it doesn't matter if the majority of people don't want that to be the case. It's what they want to be.
I'll finally get to make my fanfic. I'll just call it something else. I finally get to make the movie I always wanted to make. Granted,
we'll call it The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I got to put some Star Wars characters in it, but at least it's the movie I always wanted to make.
Well, Ryan Johnson said he didn't like Snoke that much. He wasn't into the character, so he killed him off, even though he was supposed to be the major bad guy.
Yeah,
because he just didn't. It didn't resonate with him. I'm like, this is the mentality. And the thing is there a toxic environment? Yeah, people, when they constantly are called names, even if it's not true, because they didn't agree with this small group of people trying to push agendas, that they get called names for it. Yeah, it's going to create some animosity there. I'm sorry to tell you. And when all the media outlets run along with it and tell people if they don't like it, it's because they're alt-right, man-baby, toxic fans, etc., etc. They're going to push back. And we're going to push back for them because I'm against bullying. And if I see you bullying people, I'm going to do something about it because it's a load of shit.
Yeah. And there is bullying going on in the fandoms. And it's not really coming from the places that the media would tell you it's coming from. It is actually coming from people that don't have the best interests in mind of fans or properties or whatever. They're locusts. They come in, they want to use up the resources, they want to use the clout, and then they want to move on to something else.
And that's exactly what they're going to do because they don't care at the end of the day.
No.
But then they're the ones labeled as the true fans. And then other fans who might question that or say, don't call me names. Well, as soon as you tell them not to call you a name, then you're alt-right and you're the problem. You're gatekeeping. It's like, no, the media is gatekeeping.
Yeah. And, we're going to see this narrative push because this is Hollywood. Again, this is Hollywood. They want the fans, they want the clout, they want the numbers, but they don't want to deal with the opinions, the backlash, anything like that. And I honestly think this is when fandom really got ruined, was when it became cool to be a geek.
It became cool to shit on other people, too.
Yeah.
And it's not okay. Like we always say, you're allowed to like it, you're allowed not to like it. If you don't like something I like, I respect that. But I'm not allowed to not like what you like, or I'm a horrible person. And I'm sick and tired of this. I'm tired of, only one opinion counts. That is not what fandoms were about, ever. No.
So I think we're going to wrap this one up. We're going to see a lot more hit pieces. Again, this is the
We told you.
This is the chum bucket. We have seen it. We've been doing this for
a long time.
A long time now. Even before we started the YouTube channel, we had a podcast and we used to watch, comment on fandoms and stuff when we did conventions for years. And this is the chum bucket. This is how they're going to weaponize people who feel like they're being gatekept to fight their battles for them and be like, yeah, you know what? Those fans, they really are just a bunch of Nazis. I'm like, I'm sorry. I think actual Nazis are busy planning to do white supremacist things and they're not watching cartoon shows.
Right.
Call me crazy.
They wouldn't watch cartoon shows or these shows that have characters that weren't, they're true white supremacists. Why would they watch shows that had characters that weren't white?
Yeah, right.
They wouldn't be. Why would they be? I want to take a moment, side note. Everybody's like really stoic looking. Stoic. Then you get the Flash. Stoic. I love this. It makes me laugh so hard. I can't even.
Oh God, Ezra Miller. All right.
I just think it's great. Anyway.
So let's wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.